Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Follow Everton. This is the live build-up show to Fulham versus Everton. And Corey, your usual enthusiasm appears to have evaporated. I can imagine this is something to do with the team news. Would you like to share with everyone the team news?
I'm not happy to, but yes. Wholesale changes, it looks like. Ashley Young, right back, no Patterson, okay. No Jake O'Brien, Michael Keenan for him, looks like an injury. Branthwaite, Mikalenko, okay, the same. Garner, Gay, the same. But Harrison, Alcaraz, Doucoure behind Beto. It looks like,
Horrible.
obviously, the injury to O'Brien is a major factor there, but there's wholesale changes across the board. No McNeil, no Njai. So what do you think, mate? What is this him just testing players out? Obviously, a lot of the players that he's brought in, there's not really a future for them at the club, I don't think.
Yeah, good point. I'm just going to get the lineup on my phone. If it's okay, Corey, could you read the lineup?
Yeah, of course. So for everyone, we've got Jordan Pickford in goal. Back four, Ashley Young, Michael Keane, Jared Branthwaite, and Vitaly Mikalenko. In midfield, you've got James Garner and Idrissa Gana Gueye. In front of them, Jack Harrison, Abdoulaye Doucoure, fresh from his stint on the Ben Foster podcast. On the left, Alcaraz, and up front, my man Beto. He's going to have a lovely evening, I'm sure.
I'm just putting the team. I'm just doing the scrolling thing. Yeah. Garner, Harrison, Doucoure, and Die on the Alcaraz on the left again. I mean, it's ridiculous. Beto, I'm going to digest this now for you, but this is the team. It's just about to come on now. Scrolling along. If you're just joining us, welcome to Follow Everton. I'm Ryan, the channel host and admin. If you're not already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, turn notifications on, and I've got my good friend Corey with me today. I look at this team, and you can see it in the comments. Welcome to all those watching: Tommy, Wormy, Peter, Mark, Mr. Blue Skies, Danny, Emma. It's disappointing, isn't it? You know, it really is. You asked me what I thought about it, and well, I had a couple of theories. I didn't think that Jake O'Brien handled the Ipswich goals particularly well. The one where he was beaten in the air. Does he read that situation for 2-2? Could he have been dropped? I just don't see it because, you know, he's no worse than any of the others in terms of the defenders. So that wasn't the answer. I think he's injured.
Moyes has said
Okay.
it's on the Everton Twitter X account, whatever you want to call it, stating that O'Brien's injured, so he's actually been forced into making a couple of changes. So certainly the O'Brien one. What's that? Sorry.
What looks better?
That one.
This picture, or with the filter on?
No filter. Hashtag.
No filter.
Hashtag no filter.
This is an ND filter. So the reason you put this on is because this is just as a casual show. We can just talk about anything. The way cameras work, my understanding is the f aperture, the lower that number, the more light the camera lets in.
It's okay, yeah.
And the benefit of that is you get more depth of field, so the background becomes a lot more blurred. So you have to let more light in to get the background to be blurred. Now on this lens, I want the depth of field, so it gets quite bright. So the way to control it is with this little filter. So when it's probably tolerable in here right now, but when it gets super bright, it is bright in here, to be honest. Super bright, you need to try and control something with the filter. Just a nugget of information for those who are curious. But just going back to, I'm not doing your ADHD any favors here. Just going back to half a Follow Everton, I've got ADHD. I'm not even joking. Going back to the team. So he said Jake's injured, so fair enough. But he's resisted the urge to go with Patterson as well at right back. For me, I think that is the right decision. But does that say that Coleman is absolutely finished because, you know, he can't get in at right back? He's been fit for quite a few months now. Is Is that it? Is it just Southampton and retirement for him, you think?
Yeah, 100%. He might have a game in the new stadium, like as a friendly or something like that, testimonial, whatever. But apart from that, mate, that's literally it. He won't play any game until the Southampton. You might not even start it. You might bring him on late on so he could finish it there. It is very much a case of wrap him up in cotton wool. I mean, he's had, two very, very big injuries in his 30s and he still kept going. I think we all knew that was very much the case. He's there for his leadership qualities, isn't he, more than anything?
Yeah.
So he'll probably become a coach in the summer. I'd probably like that to be the case. And probably have a game at the new stadium as well.
Testimonial would be quite good, maybe in pre-season. I think that would actually make sense, although he's never played at Bramley-Moore, so you'd argue it could have been better at Goodison to have done that during an international break and bring back some of the ex-Everton players to raise some money for whatever they want to do. But yeah, so of course, right back Young then comes in, Corey, and we haven't seen much of him since David Moyes is, and that's a blessing, really. He's another that's not going to play. So Young comes in, Coleman will be out of contract, Young will also be out of contract. Thoughts on Ashley Young then at right back against very difficult wingers and Anthony Robinson at Fulham? I mean, fucking hell, could you pick a worse opposition with that left?
Well, what I will say, there's no Anthony Robinson today. He's not even on the bench. I don't know why. Ryan Sessegnon. I mean, look, Ryan Sessegnon's still got a good bit of pace to burn as well. He might not be as rapid as Anthony, but he's not as good, but he's still got pace to burn. Hopefully Ashley Young can use his. I mean, look, we've slated Ashley Young at times, or the fact that he kept getting chosen when there's other options out there. Look at the start of the season, he was probably one of the better players, at least after that Brighton game, or Spurs game, sorry. So from that point on, he was doing all right, but it just doesn't give you any inspiration, does it? It doesn't inspire any enthusiasm in this game now. Imagine there's a couple of lads who might just go down to Hyde Park for a couple of drinks or something like that, enjoy the sun instead of going into Craven Cottage.
I know, Steve, my brother, said he should have just get off the bus and turn around, and David's also there, and I don't know, is Andy there? Has Mabsy gone? I don't know, because I don't think he will have if he's given them the ticket. But I'll just continue with the team then, Corey. Of course, Branthwaite in there as a shoehorn, ever-present defender. I hope the contract situation for him is sorted soon. But, Michael Keane has come in there. Mark Foster's saying Keane gets sent off. He'll score the winner for Fulham. And, our win ratio with Keane in the team, thank you, Mr. Blue Skies, is atrocious. We concede at least 2. I mean, that's a fact. The only way we win this game is by scoring 3 goals or more, which is pathetic, really, isn't it, Corey? But we know that's the case. We know it because we're playing with a League One centre half who is an absolute wet lettuce. But are there any positives about Michael Keane playing, Corey?
Maybe puts a bit more responsibility on Jared Branthwaite again. Maybe what I could say is, because usually he's coming and he's replaced Branthwaite, and Branthwaite plays that higher line, whereas Tarky will be the guy who sits in the box and just heads everything away. Now, maybe Michael Keane can do that because he's not mobile. He's not exceptionally good on the ball or anything like that. He's definitely not got a turn of pace. So hopefully, if he just does that and allows Branthwaite to do his job, maybe there's a little bit there that we can pin our hopes on, but it's certainly hope and not expectation.
I think we'll go and press. I think we'll have to go and press. It's very weird because I've got to look at the camera. It's more natural for me to be looking at the camera there and talking to you like that. But actually, you're down below on my laptop. I need to get a high screen, don't I? That'll be the next thing. I don't think we'll go and press. I'd like us to just go and press, be aggressive. I think we're far too passive in these last 9 matches where we've only won 1. It's because we've dropped off. We've been passive. We haven't been aggressive. We haven't been tenacious. We haven't been taking risks. Wormy's saying, Keane is playing because O'Brien is injured. Tommy's not happy. He said he's destroyed his Saturday. I know. I think it is a bit of a worry. Corey, could there have been an argument, just while we're talking about this, to have gone to a back 5 there maybe and just make sure, maybe put Coleman as the right side of centre back in a 3? Ancelotti did that a few times. I know I'm just trying to think outside the box, but
I'll be honest, I don't think so. Moyes has shown consistently that he's very happy with this formation at the moment. He's done it throughout his career, pretty much 4-2-3-1, 4-4-1-1, 4-5-1. So he's consistent with that. I think changing to a back five would also change a lot of the stuff as well. Within the team that we rely on, it would mean bringing another striker in, changing. It's just too much changes. You want to do as little changes as possible, unless you've identified a tactical tweak there that you can take advantage of. You want to do as little changes as possible, because whereas Michael Keane is a weak link, you could then be creating 2 or 3 weak links by changing the formation, especially if, like I believe happens with David Moyes, is he very much focuses on that back four shape, especially the 5 in midfield.
Well, I hope David Moyes isn't getting arrogant and thinking we can turn over Fulham by dropping his best players. But also, we come back to the theories before that we discussed why this team was. McNeil and Ndai, for me, are better players than there. I wouldn't be playing Chimiti or Ibabunam, or to be honest, Brojan. Half of these players, hardly any players in this squad that are going to be here next season. But it's a team of players. I don't think there's anything that they could do now that would influence decisions with contracts, in all honesty. I think I've seen enough.
But, in terms of players that are out in the summer, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. In terms of the players that are out on contract in the summer, Harrison obviously going back on loan, certainly wouldn't have him back. Keane, Doucoure. The only one that we'd probably have is Gana Gay in my eyes, especially after Doucoure's comments a couple of days ago. And I understand, although I don't agree with it, the argument for Calvert-Lewin. Again, I don't agree with keeping him. I'd just ship him off, just wouldn't renew him. But I can understand if we were to play him and give him game time, because there is still something for him for Moyes to see. But that's the only one I could really see, and it's the one player who's not played, which I don't mind because I like Beto. So
good points. I'm going to come to them in a minute. I'll just run through individuals, then I'll ask you an overall. So obviously Mikalenko, Ghana makes sense. There's not really any options in central midfield. We get that. You could have perhaps, I don't know, Irabunum, but no, I just don't see it with him either. Doucoure, then, you touched on him a moment ago. We did a stream yesterday. I did a stream talking about Doucoure. I thought it was an absolute fucking disgrace. Sorry for my language. I really do apologize. Not. Because this guy can't drop a bag of cement, turns like a Cunard ship, chips in with less goals than I can put fingers up on my hand, and we've only got 4 fingers. And I hope this ages terribly, but the guy has a potato for a brain. He really doesn't make good decisions in the final third. He doesn't make good decisions in the build-up. And I don't see him winning the duels of the second balls anymore. And this guy's got the audacity to come out and say he wants a pay rise. Yeah. Pay rise?
Well, what I will say is, from the context of what he was saying, I think he was wanting to keep it the same. It was more, if anything, it's a pay rise, not a pay drop, which is still wrong, but I don't think he was angling for that. It's more, he wants the same wage. Now, I can understand maybe in his head, look, he's played most of the games for us. Previously, not recent history, not this season, but he come up with some big goals. He's got the fastest goal ever at Goodison Park, if you remember back to the Leicester game.
So is Michael Keane.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Where'd you draw the line?
So I can understand where he's coming from. In his mind, doesn't mean he's completely wrong. I can understand his line of thinking.
He's completely wrong.
Yeah, his input's got much less this year compared to last year. We've not needed as many important goals from him. Good job, because he's only got 4. And like you said, the thing that he's brought in for, the energy, he's still got a bit of that. But the whole point of moving on, the second balls, bringing others into play because of his physicality and the counter-attack, we're seeing that less and less. To the point where Everton fans were pretty much pining for someone else to come in and for Alcaraz to get that to get more starts. And if he didn't have the obligation clause, he probably would have.
He didn't do a lot at the start of the season playing deeper. He was a weak link. He wasn't contributing in the possession. He was not creating chances. He was not chipping in with goals or making good runs. He hasn't done well in the attacking slot that he's had since probably December or even earlier. Not enough goals, a couple of moments, but generally anonymous. And I'm frustrated that he thinks he can slate the Everton fans by saying, why are the Everton fans on X commenting about my salary? Well, yeah, we're protective of the club because people have leached off us for ages. He shouldn't have been on £120,000 a week. Yes, in the past, I have seen him like an absolute monster in some games, just absolutely completely dominant. But that's not he's not consistent enough. I don't know why that is. And to cite that I just think with Corey, it comes down to he's not going to be an important player next season. So why would we give him key player wages? We would give him squad player wages, which is 60 grand. And if he doesn't want it, go somewhere else, because Everton have just got to be very careful, haven't they, when they're making the decisions? Are we going to be able to get 15 players in the summer, or are we going to be leaving ourselves in a right mess?
Yeah, you're correct. But again, look, there's players that you can get for very, very cheap who, for the money that he wants, in terms of his wage, 120 grand a week. There's players you can get on considerably less wages than that. So then when it comes to the fee that you pay for them, if you're getting 4, 5, 10 million pound players over the course of their contract, it's actually going to work out considerably cheaper than what you'd pay to keep Doucoure on that 120 grand. Because he's probably going to want at least 2 years. And then players will have
resale. He said he can play at this level for 3 or 4 more years.
Yeah. And do you know what?
Shitty level at the bottom of the league, maybe, but not anywhere where we want to actually go.
Exactly. And I reckon he's probably already got his eyes. He's realised that he's probably going to be leaving the club. That's probably one last thing to say to the fans and to the club, that this is it. No, I'm going to look and play ball. Final last. This is my ultimatum. You pay me this, pay me now. It's known to the media. There you go. So I wouldn't be surprised if in 2 weeks after the Goodison send off, that it's announced that he's leaving the club, along with the likes of Michael Keane and Ashley Young and things like that. He said, didn't he, that he was going to decide in the next 3 weeks. That was 2 weeks ago that podcast was recorded. So there's only a week to go. So we'll probably find out not long after the Southampton game.
He said he said he gave them 3 weeks to offer him the contract. I certainly wouldn't give him 3 or 4 years. I'd give him a 2-year contract on 40 grand a week and say, I'm going to use you for certain matches, and you're here to you. When a player, Corey, is, yes, he has done some good things technically against Bournemouth and Brighton, but these are moments in a long period. When a player that isn't technical, I'm trying to phrase this. When a player is relying only on their physical attributes to be successful, which I would argue is mostly with Doucoure, how important is the age factor there? I mean, Moyes described him as no spring chicken.
Yeah, no, I agree. And obviously he had the two separate calf injuries, didn't he, last season? So that's also going to affect you. It is, and we've had this previously with other players, where the players that we've had who rely specifically on their pace or their physicality and their strength, and they really, really go downhill once that starts to dip. Their performance starts to dip. It's not like you've got a Xavi or a David Silva who can literally just sit there and just ping balls because that's smart. Yeah. What I would say is about Doucoure, though, I think maybe in a couple of years he'll be remembered fondly, relative to players that we've had in this poor period.
Yeah,
because he has come up with some big goals. He's always been a workhorse. He's always been a grafter. I think he does genuinely love the club. And he's moody, and we do like someone who's moody. You always got to wind up. He always has a kick off, which I like it anyway, because I like the passion. But even if you didn't, he's good entertainment. So I think in a couple of years he'll be remembered fondly. But he wants that amount of money. We're not going to be able to pay him that, and it's probably for the best, because it means then we kind of need that push to move away from him. Because if we just sign him on again and we want to rely on him and we become too reliant on him, well, then we're not going nowhere. Yeah, we might have that bit of energy, but we're just still settling for the player who's not got the technical ability, a player who his returns are becoming more and more diminished. So it maybe gives us that push that we need to kind of to work. What is it? Is it it's like birds or something? When they fall out the nest, that's when they finally learn to fly. It's the Miles Morales jumping off the building moments in Spider-Verse. You need that push to be able to do it and to kick in and to actually progress and stuff like that.
But it all comes down for me to what are the strategy for the summer. If the club are getting a full new team and we are going to build a team that can compete for Europe, maybe Doucoure is one that can raise his level around better players. There are certainly others that can't. But I think maybe he could be a better player around better players. But, is there also an element of, well, if we keep him on, we're just it's just more of the same. So Everton have got to weigh this up. Where are we going next season? If we're going to play more of a possession style football, be better on the counter attack, more dynamic, more pace, he's not the answer. If we want to build a squad and have different options, maybe he could be decent. If we want more of the same, and if we haven't got the money to spend, then I can understand why we would give him another contract, because we're just going through the motions again. But I've had 4 years of going through the motions. I've had enough, to be honest. 4 years of relegation battles. I'm just going to see if there's any comments on this particular subject before we move on. People think Doucoure is only good because the standard is bad. 40,000 is enough for Doucoure. 120k a week isn't mega. Joey, just end the season now. There's some talk about Jack Harrison now, so let's. Joey's saying 120,000 is scandalous. I agree. Well, we'll see you all on the post match as well. Corey, why did he go on that podcast?
Ben Foster's mates from their Watford days. Probably a little bit of that. Probably the timing's quite good as well, because he, like I said, it's like an ultimatum. If it works in his favour, he gets the contract that he wants and he stays. He's buzzing, but he's probably just getting his side across before.
Is he attention seeking?
Not so much attention seeking. PR. It will be partly because it's Ben Foster's mate, but it'll be a lot of it PR. Like I said, it'll be him
go down well with our fans.
Him putting his opinion across, maybe trying to smooth it and say, this is why I'm leaving. Number one, to maybe smooth things or reason it with Evertonians, but also to put it out there to other teams as well. He said he's got 3 or 4 other clubs that have already got offers for, so he's just waiting to hear back from Everton. So it's probably kind of that little bit of PR for neutral fans and stuff.
Corey, before I ask you for the Fulham team and just run through the rest of the Everton team then, and my theory is perhaps he's resting some players because the Southampton game is a bigger match and we can't lose that match. And maybe that's why he's saying Ndiaye on the bench, Calvert-Lewin on the bench, McNeil on the bench. They're your match winners. Because I don't know, when we've got possession of the ball, I think I like McNeil, Calvert-Lewin and Ndiaye. I think when we're playing counter-attack, I lean more towards Beto because I think he can get in behind. And Alcaraz is the man who can kind of break through the lines and play that through. I'm disappointed not to see Ndiaye and Alcaraz behind Beto and then give the rest of them the solidity. But Harrison staying, he's not available on a free loan. And I've talked about Leeds. I've said Willie Nonto and Mana Solomon, who's on loan from Spurs. They're better than Harrison. They're in the Championship. So, you know, what? I don't see the attraction with Jack Harrison other than a really nice boy, nice attitude. I just see someone who overhits every cross, who skies every strike. I'm completely baffled. You know, he's in there to score goals. We've scored the 4th least goals in the league. Corey, what's going on? Everyone's fuming about this as well.
Yeah, it's the lineup is attritional, isn't it? It's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna be an enjoyable game. No. I think, like us, I'd probably bet on about more than 3/4, 80% of Everton fans, maybe even 90% of Everton fans, probably feel the exact same way looking at this team.
Is it tune in on 75 minutes when he inevitably makes 3 changes because we're losing 2-0 and he brings on Calvert-Lewin for James Garner or Idrissa Gana Gueye and it's like gung-ho? What do you think?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, the reason he changed the team, most likely in my mind, is fitness. Now, we spoke a few times, and we spoke about it last week, that Ndiaye's looking a little bit leggy. He's kind of looked a little bit out of sorts since he's come back. So maybe it's just give him that little bit of rest again before the Southampton game, so he's at his peak, or as much to his peak as possible. Same with McNeil. That was his first full match or his first start since he's been out for a lengthy layoff. So I think they probably need that rest, or they can just benefit from it to get the best out of them next week. That's most likely where we're at. It's not a case of these players they usually fit and we're just resting them as a complete safety precaution. There is a little bit of history there in terms of McNeil and Jai and things like that. I think the opposite of you when it comes to DCL and Beto. I think when we need to attack, because he's less likely to have control of the ball and the other players can go forward and support Beto, so he's less likely to lose the ball. I think that's when he's better. Whereas Calvert-Lewin, when we are being a bit more defensive and we need that out ball, that's when I think Dom's quite good. That's why I would have thought he maybe would have played today instead of Beto. Again, just to see what he's like, number one, and number two, because it would potentially help against a team that we are very much going to be defending against. Fulham like to attack. They'll need that out ball when they press, and his aerial abilities would help. But of saying that, I'm happy for Beto again to get the chance. But
Alcaraz on the left?
He enjoys that, doesn't he? I prefer him in the middle, most certainly. Alcaraz likes it himself as well. He drifts in so much that we have very much no left-hand side, especially with Mykolenko not being the greatest attacking fullback. So it looks like a very, very unbalanced side in my mind. Yeah, look, it's not the greatest. I was gobsmacked when I seen the team, but it is what it is. There's probably reasons for it, and we'll probably be more appreciative of it if we win next week against Southampton and you can enjoy your final day properly.
I think, and I hope that this stream will age like butter in the sun, because you've got to trust that the man who's managed that many games knows more about football than two plonkers on YouTube. So we have to, although Corey, you've got very good tactical and scouting analysis, I must admit, I'm just here to facilitate the best out of our contributors. But, we have to trust Moyes. Give him an opportunity today to show that maybe he was right about the forward line. He's probably said to Doucoure, go and improve yourself and show us exactly why you need to earn that money. I feel harsh on Alcaraz because he wants to play in the middle or deeper, but it'll be go and prove yourself, go and earn the contract, go and make it impossible for us to not sign you. Beto, state your claim, keep your spot. Harrison, I don't get. I'm sorry. Maybe Ndai's just not played well enough or whatever, or you're going to have to do a lot of defending. And then, yeah, I don't have any reason why. I don't have any moments of happiness for Keane or Young, in all honesty. So that'll be the end of that point. But Corey, just before we wrap things up here on 30-minute mark, can you run through the Fulham team for us?
Yeah, of course. So the Fulham team is in goal, Ben Leno, back four of Kenny Tete, Joachim Anderson, Calvin Bassey, Ryan Sessegnon, who's in instead of Anthony Robinson. Two midfield, Isaiah Pereira, Sander Berger. And three in front of them, Harry Wilson, Emile Smith-Rowe, Alex Iwobi. And up front, Al Jimenez.
Have you got any thoughts on the team?
I mean, there's a couple of positives relative to what I was expecting, i.e. no Anthony Robinson. That would help because he's an exceptional fullback, probably the best left back or on par with Kirkesh at Bournemouth this season. Harry Wilson on the right, I was expecting him to play, but I was concerned that maybe it'd be Adama Traore, who I know doesn't have any output, but his pace trying to go around the outside, Mykolenko really, really struggles with that. So Harry Wilson, less pacey, wanting to cut it on his left. It suits Mykolenko a lot more. So we just need to hope that that right-hand side of the defence can do its job. And maybe there is something in there for us, although I'm not counting my chickens.
There's nearly 200 watching. Thank you so much. If you haven't already subscribed on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, turn notifications on. We really appreciate it. And if you're on X, I don't mind you on X, but also support us on YouTube. Come over to YouTube, follow Everton, and give us a subscribe on there. So you should see this now, Corey. This is the Everton team and the Fulham team. Everton apparently 4-2-3-1. Fulham 4-2-3-1. On paper, I don't look at the Fulham team and think, oh my God, we're going to get battered. Wilson, Jimenez, Iwobi's very talented. Smith-Rowe was sold to Fulham. Wilson was a Liverpool reject, although he loves to score against us. The back four is decent, but I think Anderson we can get at. Leno normally has a worldie against us, so it's going to be important to make sure we can get the block on him from the set pieces. I think Bassey's better going forward than defending. And then, of course, Everton are just... The team looks absolutely shit. I'm not even joking. When you look at it, and when you look at it like that, you think, oh my God, that is just dire. Absolute donkey, no end product, out of position. They don't contribute anything going forward whatsoever. He's useless going forward. He's useless going forward and defending. And he's an absolute calamity.
Is it just sinking in?
I've got to watch 90 minutes of this.
Yeah, look, I mean, them players, it's very much a championship team, laced with a couple of bits of Premier League ability in there, isn't it? Thank God for Jordan Pickford. Hopefully, has a fantastic game. We were talking in the preview the other day. Me and Jan, we said that Fulham are very, very inconsistent. They haven't had their last draw was the first game of the new year, the 5th of January. So it's either going to be a case of us drawing all the time against them. I could see us sneaking a win, but based on that team, I just do not see us sneaking at all. I can
It
see
would
it
be an
being,
absolute masterclass.
yeah, I can see 3-0 easily to Fulham.
And on that bombshell, we're going to wrap things up. We're game starting in 5 minutes' time. Thank you so much, Corey, for joining me. And thank you to all those
Pleasure, mate.
watching. We'll see you very soon. Thank you all. Take care.
Up the Toffees.